Yo guys, how are you all? Hope you're all doing great. I'm sure you must have seen many movies, but the movie you're going to watch now will be completely different. The content of this movie is superb. No one could have ever imagined what would happen in the climax scene. We are going to watch a Spanish movie released in the year 1977. Okay, let's start this movie without wasting time. Before starting the video, if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, subscribe now and press the bell icon next to it. Your comments and subscriptions are the sole things that keeps us motivated. Those who haven't followed us yet, please do follow us. Okay, now let's get into the story. In the opening scene, the hero and heroine is shown to us. Marco and Christina are a well-to-do couple who have been married for several years. Christina is a housewife and her husband works as an anchor for a TV channel. Especially, he conducts program against the ruling party. They are overjoyed when Christina unexpectedly gets pregnant as they didn't have a child for many long years. The hero knows about this and both of them lead a very happy life. Month goes by and one day Marco plans to take her to the doctor for her checkup. On the way to hospital, he stops at a bunk to fill the car with diesel. The heroine comes out of the car. She sees a dog tied up in the distance and wants to touch it. In order to touch the dog, Christina goes near the dog, but the dog starts barking at her, behaves very badly and comes to bite her. The heroine gets tensed and gets a panic attack and consequently gets a stomachache too. She sits there with that unbearable stomachache. The hero who saw this runs and gets her into the car and takes her to the hospital. The heroine gets very much scared of the dog. Unfortunately, due to this, her baby in the womb dies and she gives birth to an unborn child. The hero is very saddened to hear this. Doctor advised him to take care of her with utmost importance and give her whatever she wants. Take her to the places she wanted to visit and do anything that makes her happy. After a few days, the hero and the heroine are very scared of the dog. They needed some time to get out of this. Hence, the hero plans to take her to the beach to get peace of mind. The hero and the heroine seem to be very happy there. They play and have fun together. Suddenly, she sees a stray dog next to them and Christina gets highly scared on seeing it. She gets highly furious and scared as this dog is of the same color of the dog which caused them to this situation. The dog slowly approaches and comes closer to them and it looked very sad. The dog calmly sits next to them and they are shocked to see this. The heroine goes to touch the dog as it seemed to be a good dog rather an arrogant one. They start playing with the dog and it became very friendly with them too. It got time to go home and they plan to leave and get back to the car. While their way to home, she sees the dog running behind the car. The heroine asks the hero to stop the car and she also got the dog into the car. The hero doesn't like this but still he didn't say anything to her since he remembered the doctor asking him to take good care of her. Days goes by where the dog and the heroine becomes very close friends. The dog does everything the heroine asks. The heroine also forgets the loss of her died unborn child while she took care of this dog. She drives all her care and attention towards the dog. She cleans and grooms it. She also named the dog Bruno. This is the name they plan to name their baby once she gives birth. The hero gets even more angry after this since she named the dog the same. The hero doesn't want the dog to have the name but still he agrees to this. The heroine day by day comes out of this incident and hence hero plans to have intimate time with her. The hero comes back to home early after work and tries to get closer to her. They were about to start their romance on the sofa but the dog starts to bark at them on seeing this. The dog gets jealous at Marco getting close to Christina. The dog kept barking and behaved harsh when Marco tries to get close to the heroine. The hero screams at the dog and tries to trash it but the dog runs away. The hero gets completely angry and Christina stops Marco from harming the dog. She exclaims it a poor living thing which is a part of their family. Bruno behaves this way only when he tries to be intimate with Christina. So she asks her husband not to come closer to her since the dog dislikes it. The gap between Marco and Christina gets even bigger and she gets closer and closer to the dog in that time. Both Christina and the dog were very happy but the hero seemed so worried as she didn't let him to be closer with him. The hero goes to office and there his colleague mocks at him saying he seemed to look very happy. Marco then rants about all those that's happening at his home and blames the dog which caused all these. He also says that it's been long since he got closer to her wife and his mental state has been worse since then. Then that colleague offers him an idea, asking him to get a female dog to his house so that they both will start spending time together, leaving Christina aside. Marco finds this idea impressive and gets a female dog wrapped inside the box. On getting it home, he exclaimed it to be her Christmas present, which she opens. Now these two dogs start spending their happy time together, playing and wandering around. Christina gets jealous on the dog and plans to do something about it. On the other hand, Hero feels relaxed on seeing all these and expects her wife will soon have a change of mind so that he can have some intimate time with her. The next day, when Christina was searching and looking for the dogs, she found them having sex at the back door. She gets highly furious and plans to do something immediately. The scene cuts to Marco getting back to home, and when he enters the house, he is shocked to see the female dog lying dead on the floor and Bruno seen crying by sitting next to it. He asks Christina if what happened to it. Heroine replies that she is clueless about it and maybe it could have been an unhealthy dog which died soon because of its illness. Bruno again starts to spend time with Christina and they come back to their normal happy days together. Christina starts to treat her dog like a human and shares her best memories with it by showing her the photo album of her family and also her marriage. She explains the dog that it was the dress she wore on her wedding by showing the picture. Suddenly, something strikes her mind and she wears her wedding dress and starts to dance with the dog, thinking it to be his husband. Bruno also danced with her in a most enjoyable way. Hope so, the dog considered it to be her husband because Christina gets tired on dancing and lies on the sofa nearby, but now Bruno starts to lick her legs. Christina gets shy and a sense of ticklishness hits her. She asks the dog to stop it, but Bruno continues to lick it until she arouses high to her sexual desire. Scene cuts to Marco entering the house after work and finds lights off and things remaining untouched. On reaching the room, he was shocked to find his wife sleeping naked and tired along with Bruno. The dog leaves as soon as it sees Marco. Adding fuel to the fire, he sees a wedding dress next to it which had the stains of the dog's paw prints as if they had intercourse. Disappointed Marco leaves the place without disturbing her. The next day after taking bath, Christina walks out wrapped in towel. Bruno, on seeing her, bites and pulls the towel off. Heroine manages to grab the towel and cover herself, but Bruno tries hard to pull the towel from her and makes her naked. Scene is shown in such a way that Bruno admired the naked heroine with a drooling tongue. Christina now finally understands that Bruno wants to have intercourse with her. She also lies on the bed so that they can enjoy their intimacy. Dog jumps on the bed as soon as she lies and they eventually had sex. On the other hand, Marco is found upset as things went out of his hands and felt helpless. He also reaches the bar and drinks until he gets high. Consequently, he reaches home and pushes away the dog Christina had on her lap and pulls her inside the room. Marco closes the room and rapes her hard. He rapes her so badly even after Christina cries and pleads to leave. Bruno scratches, knocks the door and does everything that can help him to open the door. But Marco never bothers both Christina and Bruno and kept raping her hard as much as he could. Then Christina and Bruno cries out for Marco's behavior towards them. The next day, Marco visits the priest and tells all his problems to the priest there. Marco explained that his family has come to this situation because of the same dog, so he requested to do something that can make things better. Priest empathized Marco and asked him to leave the dog in a shelter maintained by the lady he knows. He also added that they take good care of street dogs and looks completely after them, and if they leave the dog with them, all their problems will be solved. Priest also says that he will talk to his wife about this. Now, the scene cuts to the hero and heroine taking the dog to that shelter house. Christina didn't like this at all. She agreed to it only because the priest and Marco insisted. Christina is very sad and while she leaves, she hugs tightly and share a tender moment. The lady held the dog tightly. In spite of it, the dog kept running to her. Christina kept looking at the dog until the view of the dog diminishes. Bruno too keeps on tries to run from there as if it wants to go with them. Now Christina and Marco reach their home and Christina's memory on Bruno gradually starts to fade. So after a few days, the heroine also forgets about the dog and hence Marco thinks that he can finally be happy with her. After a few days, she is invited to a function at Marco's office, appreciating him. So he takes the heroine along with him. Function was all about the hero who has got promoted and standing for the ruling party. For he was someone who held shows against the ruling party previously. Christina was confused on why he had this change of mind suddenly and why he did such a thing for selfish needs. He talks there for some time and consequently the heroine gets very bored of it. She asks him if they could leave the place and come home. But Marco informed her that he had some parties left to attend and eventually it might take few more time to come. He asks her to reach home and he will be back once he finishes everything. So Christina comes home and rests. While then, she receives a call from the doctor to whom she went for the checkup the previous day. Doctor cross-checks if she was the person who came for the pregnancy test yesterday and says that the report has come positive. Hearing this, the heroine's mind goes blank and she remembers everything that happened earlier. She remembers the time she had with Bruno and thinks what would happen if his husband comes to know this. She is puzzled by the thoughts that arose in her. Christina then takes the car from there and goes to the place where the dog was. She runs to bring the dog back. The moment she goes, the dog ran to her and hugged her out of excitement. The people who was feeding Bruno there saw this and felt happy as they reunite. The heroine hugs and kisses Bruno and brings it back to home. The scene cuts to the entry of hero after completing parties to home, who's overjoyed with the happiness of being promoted. But he was shocked to see Bruno in his house again and the heroine who had her luggage is packed and stands outside. The hero asked if what was happening, for which Christina exclaimed that she had enough of being with him and she's going to live alone from then. She also added that she herself and Bruno will be together. From now on, she is not willing to be with him and Christina runs away from there. A few days later, the heroine and Bruno lives together happily and Christina is shown pregnant. Who knows, the baby could be a little puppy too, because it was Bruno first who had the intimacy with her for a long time. This movie ends her showing Christina and Bruno having happy moments together. Watch it if you haven't. Comment us on what you think about this movie and we will keep bringing you weird such movies. All you have to do is support us. Send this video to your friends and family members and ask them to watch it and subscribe us. Hope you all enjoyed the explanation of this movie and let's catch up later with another interesting movie soon. Till then, keep supporting and take care.